and welcome to the big debut on motivatingradio.com. We have just the most incredible guest with us today, and you have already heard him. You have heard this man somewhere. We have Mike Paine, and Mike is debuting his show, Rock Your Voice, Confidence from Paine on Motivating Radio. And when I say you've heard Mike before, Mike has been heard. His voice is not only on Motivating Radio, Mike is the voice of Motivating Radio, but he has been heard by over 300 million people. His voice is everywhere. It is from books to airports to radio to everywhere. You have heard Mike's voice. Mike, how are you today? Welcome to the big debut and welcome to Motivating Radio.
Thank you, LeAnn. It's great to be here. I'm so happy and so excited to get going.
It has been a long time, because you've been in the media industry for a long time, but it takes a long time to put together a professional show and get it all set up and get it all ready and produced. And we're just so excited to have you. And Mike, again, has been on Motivating Radio. So you've been on Motivating Radio for quite a while as the voice of Motivating Radio. You can hear him intros, extros, commercials, things like that. But now you have your own show, Rock Your Voice, Confidence from Paine. So we're so excited. We're all just so excited. Mike, tell us a little bit about just because, where has everybody heard you? Because you're everywhere.
I mean, not even including the radio days and the television traffic days. That aside, which is a lot because that's 33 years of my experience. But over 38 years now, voicing things, 300 million views, like you mentioned, plus, and that's way conservative. Apple, AT&T, Verizon, Pepsi, Coke, North Face, FedEx, Sam Adams, Dickies, Uber Events, KFC, Krispy Kreme, and the list goes on and on. And so, yeah, I've worked with the biggies. I've done everything from church announcements all the way to the big names you just heard and more. 55 audiobooks voiced, over 1 million downloads for the games I've voiced. So pretty much everything that has a voice, I've done it. It could be as simple as a voicemail all the way up to a big game or something for a major company. Amazon training films. I do the training films for Amazon. So, it's a big deal. So it's great to be able to say I've given so many things a voice, so many projects a voice that ordinarily, they were always searching for a voice, and I provided that, and that's fulfilling to me, and just that alone gives me more confidence to keep doing this every single day, and that's where I'm so proud and happy to be with Motivating Radio, because this is my way of getting you, the listener out there, and giving you the confidence and find your inner voice, because that's what I'm all about. Rock your confidence. You've got it. You just don't know it. And I think we've all had it so far in the back of our mind, letting all the negative stuff get in front. We need to switch that around and get the positive stuff in front and put the negative stuff in the back as a minimum. And that'll help you be well on your way to success. So that's how I view things. And it's done well for me.
Well, and now everybody knows why you're on Motivating Radio. Thanks
Yeah.
for explaining that so well and explaining. So let's take a step back. How did you get started in the radio business? Because that's an amazing story that explains about confidence and the name of your show and how you got started. How you got started. It's just an incredible story.
Well, back in 1987, I was a kid going to college at the University of Texas in Arlington, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I just always wanted to voice something. So what I started to do was I took out the old phone book and called video production companies and cable television companies, and one guy by the name of Morris Rose gave me a chance, and he invited me in, and he taught me the ropes really fast, and I had no knowledge. I've never been in a studio, never seen a professional setup or anything. And I did my first projects were paid projects, commercials for that cable television place, and I did a restaurant, I did a photocopy place, and a couple other things. And then I called the local PBS station when they were doing their fundraising drive and voiced a bunch of their pre-recorded fundraising pieces, like trips to Hawaii and merchandise and things like that. And I was on my way. And then in '88, I called the radio station I listened to. It was a hard rock radio network in the Dallas area that was based in Dallas. And I had an old guitar. I couldn't play guitar for anything, so he said, I'll buy it from you. And I called him every so often. He said, "Come down to the studio." So I came down to the studio and he bought my guitar. And then I said, "How do I get into radio?" He goes, "Well, the guy down the hall in the top 40 format needs a producer. You should try out for that." Had no idea what that meant, but I'm like, "Okay, producer sounds fun." So I went into the guy and I said, "Okay, I'll be your next producer." He's like, "Well, what do you mean? I got all these applicants." I'm like, I'm the guy." I had no idea what I was talking about. And I said, "Look, I'll work a week for free. If you don't like me, you can just kick me out. I'll do it for nothing." He's like, "All right, all right, but I'm gonna have to teach you some stuff." I said, I'm ready to learn." I learned how to cut tape. I learned how to voice bits. I learned how to, you know, do banter with them. And I was morning on a top 40 morning show that was a network radio show that was heard on, I don't know, at the time, 60, 70 affiliates or something. And for a young kid to do that, it was just, I just took right to it. I just happened to have fun at it. And then I also started the guy that I sold the guitar to down the hall. He happened to become program director. So then he hired me part time to do my own radio show. And I was doing that. Plus, I was managing all of the commercials for the network. So I was doing three jobs. I was three people at once. And finally, the network said, "We need you to be one person. Why don't we hire you full time at the Hard Rock format? And you can have your own actual full time show." So I just kept going and running with it. And as an 18-year-old kid, the first interview I ever had was Ozzy Osbourne, of all people. And it wasn't a scheduled thing. The guy that show I filled in for was supposed to do all of the interviews on tape, but they're like, "Well, he's already here. Might as well put him on live with whoever's on the air." And I happened to be me. So there was the studio had the little porthole window to it, and all these record execs and the president of the network were all peering into this little teeny hole, a hole of a window, and going, "Who is this 18-year-old kid?" They didn't even know who I was, and they're like, "He did a great job," and with no prep or nothing. And yeah, I mean, I just rolled with it, and it was one of the earliest moments, but one of my proudest moments. And I can, for those people who don't believe me, there you
That's
go.
amazing. Look. Well,
There you
and if
go.
you can't get a look at that picture, then because there was a reflection of my face on there. If
Well,
if you didn't get a look at that picture, I believe we have that on your page on the
yeah.
motivatingradio.com
Hmm.
site too. If you want to
And
hold it up again, that was really cool.
yeah,
But
absolutely. Let's see if I can get less of a glare on it here. Let's see. Let's do that. There we go.
yeah, that works. Well, okay, so what you're 18 years old, you're new to all of this, you're new to media, you're new to studio everything,
Hmm.
and they say, "Okay, 18-year-old Mike, interview Ozzy Osbourne."
Hmm.
What went through your head at that time?
I think that honestly, the only thing that went through my head was, "Oh, cool! This is going to be fun. I get to do this. I get to do this. Great!" And it was just we just rolled with it and talked about all kinds of things. And I wasn't the because I've listened to other interviews before. Even that day, I listened to the old school top rated rock jock in town, and he did a terrible job. I can say that because I he did an awful job, and I heard it. And Ozzy wasn't
Hmm.
interested, and I thought I could do better than that, and I actually got the chance, and I did better than that. So
Hmm.
it was great. And then the final uh, result of that was you can probably maybe see it's kind of backwards, but it was at the back of a Christmas card from Ozzy and Sharon.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So
It's
that
so cool
year,
that you brought that today.
yeah. So a month later, I get a Christmas card from them. It's like, okay, I guess I did a good job.
That's amazing. And you know what? What two things I want to talk about with that experience is, aside from how phenomenal it was, is first thing when I said what went through your mind, you said, "Oh, cool." sometimes our natural tendencies, especially as we go through life, is to go, oh, and panic or have fear or self-doubts or imposter syndrome, we like to call it now,
Oh
to
yeah.
self-confidence and say, oh my goodness, that's such a big deal. I'm not so sure. And self-doubts even. But you
Mm-hmm.
went, oh, cool. That
Mm-hmm.
seems like fun. And I
Yeah.
think that's an important step in instead of being intimidated or doubting yourself. Oh, cool. And then you followed that with, I've listened to these other people doing what I want to do, and I thought, I can do that just as well as them, if not better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was another crucial point in what you were saying, and you having the confidence to jump into this industry that was really competitive and possibly cutthroat, or however you want to describe it, and be successful and be very, very successful at what you're doing.
Yeah, I just jumped in head first. I Part of it was being naive at 18, and the other part of it was just I just wanted to do it. I thought it would be fun, and I didn't, I never really had that feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm surrounded by rock stars thing. I never, I just talked to everybody like they were people. I mean, I had people over at my house for barbecues. Went to, Denny's with them and had breakfast late night after a concert. I mean, we hung out in hotel rooms. It was just normal. It wasn't, it was kind of like a movie, but not the movie you see with all the crazy stuff. It was most of it was just like, hey, I'm just going to go ride my motorcycle once the tour is over, or I'm going to start writing some more new music. You want to hear it? Uh, I, I won't get into it now, but I could tell some stories that are pretty fun. So maybe sometime we'll get into that.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
But you know what? You just hit on something is what I think your key, and from knowing you, what your key to success was in connecting with people, whether they're
Hmm.
famous, whether they're not famous. And what I know from you is that it, they're just people.
Yeah.
And I think that might be like, you have talked about it in the past, maybe you could comment on it now, is that that's part of your success. And that's why
Absolutely.
some of these big name people wanted to be interviewed by you.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's the biggest part of it is there. It got to the point where they were actually asking for me, and happy to oblige, of course. I mean, because they knew there wasn't going to be any high pressure, or I'm not going to fire any, secret hard questions. It's fun, it's lighthearted, it's happy, it's whatever they wanted it to be. It's the old school
Mhm.
way of the studio takeover. Now it's a cliche, but back then it was a new thing. So it was kind of like it wasn't the typical follow the format of when is your tour, how is the album doing, did you write your own music, was it hard, and blah blah. It's boring. So if we had a little amplifier in the studio and a little guitar, and if they wanted to play guitar, they could play guitar. If they wanted to
Hmm.
just talk about Monty Python, they talk about Monty Python, whatever it was, literally anything. And I didn't care, and that's what sounded the best because they were just people. They were just playing favorite songs. That's all it was about. It was great.
That's amazing. What an amazing experience. You um you were saying that you just, when you looked for that job, you just picked up the phone book and started calling people. And now you do confidence coaching, and you help people to express their voice and find their voice, and voice coaching as well. But how did you find the confidence to do that? I think, what do you think was the key to just picking up the phone book and calling people and ending up with the job?
I think from an early age in my teens, I always was hungry for information, and I always wanted to find things out. So, and I'm still like that today. One of my strongest suits, other than helping people with confidence, is research. And with the internet, you can research anything you want. There's some misinformation out there and
Mhm.
some exaggerated stuff, but if you really want to get into it and find out how to be confident with yourself, motivatingradio.com is the place to be, of course. So, start here and then branch out because
So true.
you're at the definitive place for confidence right here. But outside of that, there's ways to research. I mean, I'm going to cover different topics in my various videos coming up. I mean, speaking with a smile. I mean, that's huge. It sounds simple, but you have to learn that. It's not something that comes naturally for a lot of people. And going back to the radio thing, getting past hecklers and objections, and as we call them now, the internet trolls, the comment trolls. I mean, that's actually a whole detailed segment in a course in and of itself, and I will go into that long form later on. But it's one of those things that it all wraps up and it all becomes one main point, is to find that inner voice. It's how to kind of put that first aid for your outer and inner voice. It's not just speaking, it's your inner voice. You got to get that inner voice confident too before that outer voice becomes confident.
Hmm. Agreed. Agreed. You were talking about the negativity that's out there, and everybody gets negativity. I think Dolly Parton said it recently. People are finding all sorts of new ways to be mean to each other out there.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and how do you deal with some of the negativity and some of the feedback and things that, not feedback, but some of the things that are going on especially because this is such a competitive genre. How do you, like, what advice do you have for people?
Well, I have some good advice, and actually, I'm going to cover that in the future as well, because that's something I want to address long form, is how to deal with, like I mentioned, the hecklers of the world, the internet trolls, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a lot of that. I've saved them all, actually. All of the I saved the negative stuff people have said about me, because I want to show people that it's not okay to do that, of course, but it's not that big of a deal. That's the one person out of thousands and thousands, compared to thousands and thousands and millions that have loved what I do.
Hmm.
So yeah, if I have 10 compared to millions, I'll take the millions. And
And
it's just a matter of, I'm sorry to interrupt. It's just a matter of, you know not 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 having the doom scroll mentality, not having the hate watch mentality. Instead, watch the things you like. Don't watch a TV show or a movie or something. Go, oh, I hate that actor. I hate that show. I hate that whomever host. Why are you watching it? And doom scrolling.
why are you watching it?
Why are you looking for negative stuff? You know, there's negative stuff out there, but don't actively search for it. You're going to find it, and you're going to be sad. Why do that?
I love some of your terminology, doom scrolling and hate watching, and that's just it. Well, and for me, a lot of it too is there's violence, or there's negativity, there's hate, there's discrimination, why watch that? Why put that? I don't want that in my head, and it stays in my head. So why would I expose myself to that? And you
Yeah.
had mentioned, you're going to be talking about this more in long term. This is an ongoing battle.
Hmm.
This is, I just wording it like that. This is the battle of between good and evil. This is, has been going since the beginning of time.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And here's the thing: know that it exists and be informed. Don't put blinders on, but process it
mhm,
better. That's the difference. Don't ignore everything. That doesn't work either. You have to know what's going on in the world,
right.
but process it better. Don't go down the rabbit hole of doom. I mean, say, okay, this negative thing is happening. How does it affect me, and how do I process it, and how do I move on from it, or deal with it, or address it, however you do it, but then don't dwell on it. I mean,
Don't
take it on
dwell
and
on it.
yeah, don't dwell on it. Don't doom scroll. I mean, it's not worth it. It's just not. And we're all guilty of that at some point. We look at stuff, and even my audiobooks, so some of them have negative comments, and they have a 1-star review and all that. It's okay. I mean, thousands of people have bought the audiobooks, and those are just, a small handful of people that didn't like it. Oh well. I mean,
Hmm.
I've made a lot of other people happy.
Hmm.
The key to remember is most people don't leave positive reviews. The ones that shout the loudest are the negative ones. That's what you need to know and remember.
Right. And giving them attention because they're trying to get attention. So giving them attention and focusing on them rather than focusing on what your purpose and what you're here to do or you're supposed to do or the good things that you do and what makes you great, what your superpower is feeding into that negativity and welcoming more.
And the message of "don't feed the trolls" is true, and it will stay true. And you don't feed the trolls. You just, you know, again, there's no such thing as it being okay for someone to say ugly things to you, and I can show you. There's people that have said really ugly things to me, and whether it's on the
Hmm.
radio or just about my voice work or something. And we're all human, it affects us, but you also have to have that inner confidence, which is where I'm getting at, to go and be able to deal with it and go, oh, that stinks. I don't need to hear that today. But it doesn't affect you for the entire day. It doesn't ruin your week. It doesn't, you know it's
Right.
like, ugh, really, but then you move on.
And 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 to recognize the truth in yourself that, oh, that's not true, so water off a duck's back.
Yeah. Yeah, and if somebody says
I'm
it, oh, you stink, or you're terrible, or you sound lousy, or you sound like a robot, it's like, okay, well, not true, but okay, thanks for chiming in, I guess. That's how I
well,
react to it. It's like, what? Yeah,
robots can be fun, so
yeah.
a lot of people like robots.
I've voiced
So
robots,
thanks.
actual robots before, so it's okay.
There you go. Say thank you. I was trying to do that.
Yeah,
And
really.
I'm going to put what did you say? Don't feed the trolls. I think
Yeah,
I'm going to put that on a post-it note somewhere on my computer screen here.
yeah, yeah. Don't feed them because they'll keep coming.
What kind of advice do you have for people? Because I know you're a busy guy. I know you because we've been working together for quite a while.
Hmm.
What kind of advice do you have for people about balancing too? Because like you were just talking about balancing the negativity and the positivity or
Hmm.
right, whatever you want to call it, truth not truth, but what do you have like with regards to work life balance?
Well, it can be a tough thing to manage. I mean, everybody's got a different story. I was, up until 3 years ago, burning the candle at both ends and in the middle. I was doing the voice work thing full time. I was programming 2 radio stations, which included doing all the news, doing all the sports, doing the ads, and it became a lot, and that was dominating my 24/7. I mean, I was really just becoming burned out. So I had to make a decision, and I chose voice work because that was my first love, and I'm going to continue doing that. Now, uh, I,
Hmm.
I think it's better now because I realized that I'm actually not just with my voice, but I've been helping people this whole time, and I think it's time for my voice to be heard on such a bigger scale, which is why I'm so thrilled to be with Motivating Radio. And and to organize a work life balance is tough, but you can do it. If you have to physically write it down on an index card, if you have to make yourself the old school grocery list on an index card, if an Excel spreadsheet helps you, you could write it on a note on your notes in your smartphone. Whatever the means is to make yourself organized, do it because that's going to help you. It'll be like I'll rank something in order of importance, in order of difficulty, in order of time sensitivity, and having that mindset each and every day, and then being able to shut off afterwards, because winding down is a whole
Hmm.
it's a whole talent in and of itself. Some people just constantly you're scrolling, constantly looking for, if they're ready to go to bed and they hear a notification from a social media and they're going, oh my gosh, I gotta see what that is. No, you don't. Just go to bed.
There'll be
Yeah,
another one tomorrow.
yeah, yeah. It's okay. And winding down is almost as important, if not more so, than winding up. I mean, it's hard to do, but you just have to go, okay, I'm going to, for a half an hour before bed, I'm going to do absolutely nothing and watch something simple, or would watch nothing, whatever works for you. Some people like to have the TV on at night when they sleep. Some people don't. Whatever is the best thing for you, make it work. I mean, there's even apps, I mean, that have, ambient noise like a babbling brook, or, gentle wind or something. So yeah, whatever works is how you should do it, and embrace it.
Exactly. And allow yourself that, because sometimes we're so critical of ourselves and exposing ourselves to the negativity and even, we don't realize, but those are little things and they're small hits and they continue to hit until you're broken down.
Hmm.
And it eventually wears down on your confidence and we don't realize it because it can sneak up on you.
It
And
does.
yeah, and then all of a sudden you're standing there going, I feel like I can't say the word because we're on the air, but I feel terrible. There, that's a good word. I
Yeah.
don't feel good about myself anymore. Or I used to have the confidence to do these things or do whatever I wanted. I used to be more outgoing, or I used to have fun, and I'm not enjoying things anymore. What do you think? I know that you help a lot of people, Mike, with your helping people find their voice. And it's such a literal definition of what you're doing. There's it's so many definitions or not definition, but so many ways of taking you, helping people rock their voice or find their voice. What is the best part of confidence coaching what, what is the most meaningful to you?
I'll give you a great example. I just had, right before we were speaking today, I was speaking with someone who was starting up a YouTube channel about health, wellness, and beauty. And they sent me some recordings and they wanted me to know that they wanted my help and my kind of, got more than anything, guidance as to how they sound and how they can approach this. And it wasn't even so much a technical thing, it was about 25% technical, it was 75% confidence. And that's a lot of what I've been doing forever, and I'm going to keep doing it even more coming up, because with what the tips I gave him, he was able to go, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. He asked a ton of questions. We were just speaking. I wasn't trying to, steer him in a direction, or wow, what's wrong with you, or anything like that. He said, okay, Mike, how do I sound? And I said, okay, technically, here's what you're doing right. This is great. Now, here's what you need to do to sound more confident. And you need to talk to someone like we're talking together for a YouTube channel. And he was just absorbing everything, and he was so happy. At the very end, he was just absolutely thrilled, and he was so confident. And he was like, I can't wait to send you my first video when it's done. And starting from, his face in the beginning was kind of, nerve. You could see the nerves and you could see the
Mhm.
anxiousness, and oh my gosh, I hope this sounds good too. At the very end, he was smiling and joking and laughing within a half an hour. So that's there's nothing more fulfilling and rewarding than that to me. And that's why I get up in the morning to help someone, whether it's with my voice like that, or with my ears and my voice. That's There's nothing better than that. I live for that. It's great.
That's such an amazing story, and I completely understand. That's what the thought about how helping people, if I can help even one person, that gets me up in the morning.
Hmm. Hmm.
And to
Absolutely.
change somebody's to change somebody's world like that, you probably changed the whole trajectory of their life in just by doing something simple like that.
Yeah, I've been doing a
So
lot of that lately.
you must be so proud. Like, I mean, maybe you don't think about it because sometimes we don't think about these things, but what are you most proud of in your career?
I think it's just being able to uh, give somebody's vision their own inner voice, and having it come out, and whether it's with my voice or with their own voice, or just as an ear to listen, an objective ear, and kind of guiding them there. I don't get any bigger high than any from anything in life than that. It's just so, it's so cool to be able to say I voiced something that this person was creating, and now it's off and running, and it's become huge. I mean, from zero to millions of
Hmm.
views, and I've done that, a number of times. Or just being able to provide something to someone that didn't even know existed. You know, the guy I was talking about that I just spoke with, his wife found me and wanted him to talk to me, and she said, "This guy is going to be the guy you need to talk to," and it ended up being great. I mean, I've produced voiceover demo reels for people that were getting their careers going, and now they're running past me. They're recording audiobooks all over the place and getting auditions to gigs and landing these big gigs, and it's great. And it's not. I don't look at see that. I don't look at this as, oh my gosh, they're going to compete with me and take all of my jobs. No, I want them to succeed. There's room enough for all of us to succeed. There is. I mean, there just
Hmm.
is. There's room for everybody. Come on in. I'm not a gatekeeper.
There is. There's no end to if there's no end to the opportunity. We don't have to have a scarcity mentality.
No, and I'm not a gatekeeper, and I never will be. What you see is what you get. I'm not one of these people that, oh, well, I'll hold all of this information inside because if you know what I know, then you're going to take my livelihood away. No, it just makes us all better in the end, which is what my goal is.
Makes
I'm
us
here to
all
make you all
better and
better.
expands the awareness of the industry and makes more jobs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 1,000,000%. Yes. Yes.
So you were okay, you said a couple of things there. You talk about people finding their inner voice, and you have your own methods that have been successful that you help people with, and you've been helping people with for, I don't even want to say how many years. So you can say how many
Almost
years.
40. Almost 40. Yeah.
Almost 40. Yes. So you mentioned speaking with a smile, and you have a traffic light. You're offering courses. You offer courses. You've kind of talked about it too,
Hmm.
in addition to your show that's going to be on motivatingradio.com. Can you tell us about that? Like, what does it mean to rock your voice? What does that mean to you?
Well, rocking your voice means embrace your voice. Know that you have that inner voice. Everyone has one. And let the world know it's okay. You don't have to brag about, you don't have to overdo it. Just let people know you're there. I mean, there's no reason to hide. Let people know you're you. And when you mention the traffic light method, that's almost a key not only to just speaking, but in life itself. There's a red, a yellow, and a green. I mean, you have to know when to stop, you have to know when to wait, and you have to know when to go. And there's so many people that don't have that. It's almost like we've gone backwards. People used to know that a lot more before the internet age became a thing, and now it's just instant. You have to be instant with a text, instant with a response to a video, instant with a post on social media, and you don't even filter. Before, when you'd have to write a letter out longhand, you'd kind of go, "Ooh, that felt good to write that, but I'm not going to send it," and you rip it up and throw it away. Now you can't do that. You can't take that back. It's there forever. So that's what we're
Hmm.
missing. When I see the traffic light method for speaking effectively, it's not such a literal thing as much as it is a metaphorical thing. And you have to mentally know when to stop, and mentally know when to wait, and mentally know when to go. And listening is more
Hmm.
important than even what you're saying. Kind of, read the room is a cliche, but it's true. Read the room a little bit and see what's going on out there. Who are you speaking with? Why are you talking to them? And why are they interested in you? If you're just going to kind of look at your feed and shuffle around and go, oh boy, yeah, well, I got this presentation. I mean, don't. I'm going to make this a thing. I'm just going to say, don't be Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. I love Eeyore as a character, but don't be Eeyore going, oh bother, oh well, I guess. I mean, people aren't going to be interested in you. They're going to just tune out and go, "Gosh, that person's pretty sad. I'm going to kind of get away from them." Yeah, don't do that. Don't be a Eeyore.
Well, and I love your, but he focuses on it's what we were talking about before. He focuses on the negativity instead of what's
Right.
good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I love
Yeah.
your.
Yeah.
What gives you what is it that's because you do the confidence coaching, you have your courses, you have your show, Rock Your Voice, Confidence from Pain on motivatingradio.com. And and what gives you confidence?
Uh, I think what gives me confidence the most is helping people in so many different ways. I just feel great about it, and I, I can safely say this because it's true. I haven't had one person come to me since I've been coaching and training and teaching that said, "Wow, I didn't really get a lot out of that. I didn't really learn anything. I didn't gain anything. I didn't, there's nothing there for me. I didn't. There's not much I got out of this at all." Everyone I've spoken with, everyone I've talked to, everyone I've taught and trained over the years, whether it's radio or voiceover or coaching your confidence, has never come back to me and said anything negative. And that to me keeps me going every day. It rejuvenates me every single time I help someone, especially even, on any level, whether it's just a small piece of advice to career coaching to confidence coaching to just an ear to listen, an objective ear to listen to, and not going to judge you. I'm just going to say, look, I've got a lot of experience in this. Let's figure this out. And that's what I'm here for.
Mhm. It's not just you're not just voice coaching. It's not because that just seems after I'm sure everybody's thinking after hearing from you, that just seems a little flat or a little lacking depth
Right.
because it's not just, oh, here, exercise your voice in this way, do these exercises or project in this way.
Yeah.
That's not what it's about in your world. And that's not the key to your success.
No, it's probably 25% technical and 75% uh, you know, teaching teaching confidence, teaching your inner voice to be better, smiling, speaking with a smile. I mean, it's not so much technique as it is mental. Really, it really is a mental game, and you have to be able to. If you're not confident, you're
Mhm.
going to hear it. And whether you're speaking to someone, whether it's on a microphone or off a microphone, or in a meeting, or just person to person, or a job interview, you're going to hear it. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm about, is to find that inner and outer voice and bringing them forward.
Mike, I know because we've been working together for a little while now, for some time now. And
Hmm.
I know, I just feel like the people that are in your classes and get to work with you and that you coach and things like that, what an amazing opportunity. And I just feel like they're so lucky because that they get to experience your perspective and how you support and boost them and give them a step up in the world, give them that edge that I said changing their trajectory of their life. It does change the trajectory of your life. And everybody, I'm sure everybody wants to get a hold of you. How do people contact you, Mike?
Well, you can find me on motivatingradio.com, of course, and you'll find me a lot more on motivatingradio.com coming up very soon. And if you want to
Hmm.
contact me directly too, outside of that, you can find me on the web at Mike Paine Coaching, all run together, .card, that's CARRD.co. So you can look at my website, of course, find me on Motivating Radio. And if you search Mike Paine Ozzy Osbourne interview, you'll see my old days of crazy radio stuff. And if you just search Mike Paine voiceover, you'll find me there, Mike Paine Coaching. However, if you want to search my name and other words with it, you'll find me. But those are the two main places to find me. Motivatingradio.com. Do it today. You can do it. I know you can.
That's amazing. See what I mean? Can you spell your website one more time?
Sure. Mike Paine Coaching, that's Paine coaching, all run together, and .card, which is CARRD.co.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mike, so much for everything that you do, for being the voice of motivating radio, for helping so many people, because that's what we're about. We're about helping people, and you are such a great fit for our mission and our purpose and what we do. And we're just so thrilled to have you here. And like I said, people who work with you are so lucky. I want to take your class someday. Maybe someday you'll let me take your classes and I'm
Likewise,
just,
yeah.
I'm just little, I'll ask you on air so you can't say no. So, so thank you so much for being on the big debut on motivatingradio.com. I'm LeAnn Hilgers, and we've had Mike Paine with us today. He's got a new show he's launching, Rock Your Voice, Confidence from Paine. And thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you. We'll talk soon, and we will talk.